Have you ever thought building a backend for your Flutter app feels daunting? Well, I have some good news for you. With Serverpod Mini, we made it crazy simple. Serverpod Mini is a slimmer version of Serverpod that doesn't need to be connected to a database. I'm Victor, the founder of Serverpod, and I'll show you how to get started with Mini. Let's dive in. You create a mini project by running serverpod create my minipod --mini. Obviously, you can call your project anything you like. This is just an example. Serverpod will now create a new project for you. It contains 3 Dart packages, but you will only need to pay attention to the server and Flutter directories. The server directory contains your server files, and the Flutter directory contains your app. The third package contains your generated code that is used by the Flutter app to talk with the server. To start your server, change directory into your server directory. Then run dart bin-main.dart. You'll get a confirmation that your server has started and that it is listening on port 8080. The project that was created comes with a sample Flutter app. It's all hooked up to talk with your server. You run it with a Flutter command. That's it. Your Serverpod app is now up and running. Easy as that. But how do we do something a little bit more interesting? Let's look at how we define our models. A model in Serverpod is a class that you can pass to and from the server. The models are defined as easy-to-read YAML files, which you place in your server's models directory. Model files are converted to Dart classes that can be serialized and sent to and from the server to your app. This is an example of a model file. Here, we define a class called company and add several different fields, a name, a founded date, and a list of employees. For types, you can use most of the basic Dart types, such as string, double, int, bool, datetime, and the byte data. You can also include lists or maps. Just make sure to specify the types. You can also reference any other model that you create yourself. Whenever you add or edit a model file, run serverpod generate in your server directory. Then Serverpod will generate all the updated Dart classes for you. That's great. We can now create models, but how do we pass them to and from the server? In Serverpod, you create endpoint methods on the server, which you can call from your app, just like if there were local methods. For this to work, you need to place the endpoints in the endpoints directory. By doing so, Serverpod will analyze your server code and automatically generate the corresponding methods in your Flutter app. For the server methods to work, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. You must place the methods in a class that extends the endpoint class. The methods must return a typed future. The first parameter of your method must be a session object. The session contains extra information about the call being made to the server, and it also gives you access to the cache, internal server messaging, and logging. The other parameters can be basic Dart types such as strings, integers, or any of the models that you have defined. You can also pass maps and lists. If you do so, they must have a type defined. Here is an example of an endpoint that uses the company class that we defined earlier. As you can see here, the first parameter is the session object, and we have our company. We return a future boolean. Whenever we add or modify our endpoint methods, we need to run the serverpod generate command. This will generate our client and make the methods accessible in our Flutter app. Cool! We have now added a model and a method to our server. Let's call it from our app. The default app we created already sets up a client that will connect to our local server. We call it through the client object. First, let's create a company object. This is an instance of the model that we defined. Now we can pass it to the server by calling our endpoint method. client.company.isLegit. This is really all you need to get started with Serverpod Mini. Check out our documentation for more tutorials and examples. Happy coding!